Today on What Went Wrong, even if no one's watching these things, we're still going to do what we think is best. Hi, I'm Brett Mauser, and I've been doing this for a while. These What Went Wrong episodes.
A couple of years now.
Yeah, we're up like over 80 episodes of these things.
Get
now.
out.
Yeah. I think we're like on 80. We may even be in the 90s on this one because the last round we did brought us to 85.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're probably in the 90s.
We're in the 90s now.
Yeah, which was one of my favorite decades.
It was a great decade.
Today we're going to be talking about something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that would be integrity. And that's a tough question to answer exactly what integrity is.
It is.
Man, I'll pass it over to you after I kind of give what I've told people before. It was actually when I was in Corpus. There was a reporter that I was working with, and she was starting to have some issues with the stories that she was having to follow down. The whole stick the camera in the crying family's face type stories, and she was having a difficult time with that. And I was saying, well, you have to stand up and say no.
Yeah.
You have to stop doing it. She says, well, if I don't, then just somebody else is. I said, yes, but it won't be you. That's integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else will do the job, but it's not you.
Right.
Even though you're in dire straits and it may mean your death, you have a strong moral code that does not let you do things.
Right.
If it's down to me and this other person who's going to get this big film contract, I'm not going to go kill that person. Whether if I can be completely innocent of it or not, they'll never catch me. I'll be free and clear of it. Still not going to do it.
Right.
How do you define integrity? What is integrity to you?
One of the things we used to get taught in military school and in the military was the idea that integrity is who you are when no one is watching. It's the idea that when people are watching you, of course you'll be good and you'll do the right thing and blah blah blah. But then when they all go away and it's just you by yourself and you can get away with something you shouldn't do, are you going to? And there's little things like one of the things I always do, and this is just I have a thing for this, is that if I'm walking along somewhere and I see like trash on the ground, I pick it up. I just do that. If I'm somewhere and I see like a cup or something or a tin can or something.
I do that when I'm in the shopping aisle,
right.
and there's a can of macaroni and cheese on the ground.
Pick it up and put it back in the thing. It's something that no one in the parking lot. No one's ever going to see me reach down and pick up a cup and put it in the trash can or put it in the back of my truck and I'll go throw it away later. No one's ever going to see that. But it's who I am. That's like don't mess with Texas. Which, by the way, is not really it's kind of cool saying that, but it's an old trash slogan from the 80s. You don't mess with Texas, meaning keep Texas from being trashy. And it really, really helped the state. We had a lot of trash on the thing, and it really helped out. And so I've kind of fallen into doing that. The idea that you witness something and you're going to tell the truth about it or not tell the truth about it. You saw someone doing this or you did something. That you shouldn't have. And are you going to be able to, you could get away with it, but are you going to be able to tell? It's that kind of thing. There's more to it than that, but that was always the simplest, singular, individual explanation we went with. To your definition of integrity is doing the right thing, damn the consequences. Okay? That's a more extreme version, but it's no less valid. Now would I steal to keep from starving? In the situation in which you find yourself, or in a situation like that which I find myself, I don't know. I probably would steal something. Because once again, I was a Cav Scout for many years, and so I was taught. That's a military occupational specialty for a thief, is Cav Scout. I was an infantryman and a Cav Scout, and I used to steal stuff all the time. It's almost like a game in the military is what you can do. But the idea that you would fall upon hardships in order to maintain your integrity is an extreme, not extreme. It is a individualistic choice that one has to make. And it can be difficult at times. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of jobs because I've walked away saying, "Oh, I'm not going to be a part of this."
Yeah.
Well,
and
and that wasn't even killing babies.
Right.
That was just you're lying to a client.
Right.
I want nothing to do with this.
Right. Well, and I've and talking about things you do in your past. I've done some pretty heinous things in my past for cash, if you will. Not killing babies, but
Adolescents
maybe, but not babies. That sounds terrible. Send that boy to The Hague. And some people think what I do now is awful. Some of the stuff, some of the cargoes that I haul from place to place. Well, medical supplies is good. Military supplies, bad. Hauling people, home, good. Hauling prisoners, bad. Kind of stuff. And that's an individualistic choice we have to make. Some people agree or disagree that what the government does is right or wrong, and I should or shouldn't be a part of it.
Well, I don't think integrity necessarily means ethics or morals.
No.
It means how you protect those ethics and morals that you have.
Some people have a problem with...
You're going to do what you say you're going to do.
Some people have a problem with the military-industrial complex. I do not. I believe they're a business doing business things, and they do something that, in the end, protects the United States, or at least keeps the United States, keeps the citizens of the United States in a relatively protected status, in so much as we can destroy ourselves as opposed to someone else doing it. So I have no problem with it. Therefore, I have no problem doing those kind of missions. However, if I did, then doing what I do would not be possible because it would violate my ethical stance on the use of force and what it's for and the military-industrial complex, as everyone likes to talk about. And so I couldn't do this job. And then at that point, my integrity would lead me to quit what I'm doing, or at least not do those things, which you can't always volunteer not to do. So integrity doesn't necessarily mean doing the right thing, because the right thing can be subjective. Some people believe that it's okay to, use, as they call them, enhanced interrogation techniques on certain enemies of the state, the United States, in order to protect other Americans. And so if I had a problem with that, I could not be a part of it. But if I didn't have a problem with it, then let's attach the clamps and get with it. And so, integrity shouldn't be confused with doing what's right or what's wrong. It's just doing what you believe no matter what.
Yeah. It can be hard for some people to even comprehend what integrity is
Yeah.
or why they may know kind of what integrity is, but they don't understand why we stand up for it and why we protect that.
Right.
Minuscule example, and we were talking about Miss Finley, our English teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She,
Lovely lady.
Yeah. We were learning like the writing styles, first person, second person, third person, and how you're not supposed to write in second person. And I in my writing would always say you. I would be talking to the reader as you, and that's just how I was. That's how I liked my writing style.
Mm-hmm.
But I fought her so hard on that, it earned a phone call to my mother. Mm-hmm. Well, he's just fighting me every step of the way, trying to explain to him this is how it works. So I got to sit down with my mother, and she said, "Well, you've got to do what they're telling you to do to pass the class." And I said, "No, my integrity will not allow me to. This is the way I am. This is the way I write. This is my style. My integrity will not allow me to abandon that."
Right.
And my mother bitched and moaned about that for years. And she tells that story over and over again about how Brett, as a high schooler, wouldn't write the way his English professor wanted to because he had integrity.
Yeah.
And she just, for years and years, thought that was foolish. And just recently, she's on the board. She was on the board of this thing out in Arizona. And she's on a phone call, and they're telling her to do something, and she says, I have too much integrity to do that. And she flashes back to me sitting there over my little English assignments, saying, I've got too much integrity. and them, and flashing, forward for 30 years, her and my dad telling me, "Damn your integrity, just keep your job,
just do a thing,
keep your head down, do what you have to do."
No,
because they'll, I'm not trying to be a martyr, I'm not trying to be a hero of anything, but I don't see anybody else sticking up, and I see other people knowing things are wrong, but still doing it anyway.
Right.
Because, I don't want to lose my mortgage. Oh, I don't want to do this. And yeah, of course, we all have to make compromises. And there's
compromise is part of it, yeah.
But there are lines. When you have a line and it's like, I just can't do this.
Right.
Then, because I do feel like when you do and you give up on that, it's just chipping away at your soul.
Right.
And if you just keep giving that little bit of you, bit by bit, then by the end you're just a sniveling coward that's just going to do whatever they want.
Right.
They're going to be the ones that, I was just following orders.
Yeah.
And when that time comes, if that time comes where someone puts a gun in my hand and says, for the good of the state, execute this guy.
Yeah.
Well, first, what do you do?
Yeah. Why? What did you do?
What do you do? You raped a kid.
Blam!
Next.
Ta-da! That was easy.
But he spoke out. He spoke out against the government. He says we have the Second Amendment rights.
Blam!
Yeah. So yeah, and I've always expected that's how I'm going to go out somehow, some way. Standing up for what I believe.
The Battle of the Alamo, the guys standing up for what they believed. The Battle of San Jacinto, guys fighting and killing for what they believed. Any battle, World War II, World War I, World War III, it's all about people standing up for what they believe. Some wars that have been fought have been over different things.
Because most people that stand up are not the aggressors.
Most people aren't.
The ones who stand up and die for their cause and are saying, I am ready to die for this. This is the hill I'm going to die on, are because the world is charging down on them and saying, change, you need to do this, you need to be this. Yeah. The people who are standing up and saying, you're going to die for this, are sending other people to their death.
We can talk war history and stuff like that. It's one of the old quotes you hear. It's the old men declare war, the young men die in it. And that's true. I mean, when's the last time you saw... President Biden wasn't the one dropping bombs on Syria a couple of weeks ago. We were doing it. The Air Force was doing it. The military was doing it. It wasn't Obama that bombed 5,000 people or had dropped 5,000 bombs in a certain time period on Afghanistan. It was the people that were doing it. It wasn't the leaders who have come, who are the ones that are going to be picking up the rifle and the sword and fighting. Back in the day it was. When King Richard said, let's go do this crusade, freaking King Richard pulled his goddamn sword and away we went. I have no problem following a leader like that. President Eisenhower, when my father joined the Air Force, President Eisenhower was in charge. President Eisenhower used to be, and he was the one who basically beat everybody, beat the Germans especially. Guys who have served in the military, our leaders who served in the military, I say our leaders, our representatives who served in the military. Eisenhower, Nixon was in the Navy, Ford was in the Navy. Kennedy, of course, a war hero. When he almost got killed by the Japanese in his PT boat, PT-109. All these guys who've gone and our leaders, I say our leaders, I don't like calling them our leaders, our representatives, who have gone and fought, they actually have drawn their swords and charged ahead, and I have the greatest respect for them. But recently, so few have, and I think some of the things that people don't realize is integrity isn't just about doing the right thing, it's about... Well, let me rephrase that. For me, I should say integrity is I will do whatever I do, I think my followers should do. And as a leader, I should be willing to go forth and do that myself. Okay. That's why I believe that some of the people in our government have so little integrity is because they've done so very little to lead the way. They've always been in the back, sending other people to do it. When you have people... who are dying on that hill. They're not the ones that agree or disagree, the ones that are coming at you. They're being sent by whoever has sent them. And maybe they should make that decision, we're not going to do it. I'm talking about a civil war that comes along where you've got one side fighting another side, even though they're all the same countrymen. They believe strongly enough on someone to do something, but are the things they're fighting and dying for the same things that their leaders are sending them to fight and die for? And that is a problem that you have when you have a leadership matrix or a followership matrix that isn't in sync with what they believe is going on, and there's a lapse of integrity there somewhere, where someone is not being forthright about what's going on. Would I be able to die on a hill that I am upon? Well, maybe. Is this hill worth dying on? Certain ones they are. Second Amendment, absolutely worth dying on. First Amendment, you goddamn right, it's worth dying on. Not limiting the First Amendment at all. This whole concept of hate speech, or I can't say something because it's hateful. Hey, f*** off. If I want to hate you, I can hate you, and I can say whatever I want. Because the concept is, if you say it's hate speech, well, who's to say that you have any integrity at all? You're just saying it to shut me up. Mm-hmm. Because you don't have any integrity. Why should I be the one to die on this hill when you're not even willing to die yourself?
Especially those that will say, well, I don't see what the big deal about integrity is, or integrity is going to get you in trouble, or there's no real good reason to have integrity in those senses. And you've heard them. You know the people I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
The ones that are keep your head down. Well, those are the same people that will be like, well, how could there possibly have been a country that had endorsed the wholesale slaughter of 6 million Jews and nobody did anything? Because you think that the Germans and the people around the camps that were seeing the smoke, you think those people didn't notice trainloads of Jews going into these concentration camps and not coming out?
Yeah.
Everybody knew what was going on, or at least had a very pretty damn good idea of what was going on.
To be morbid as possible, I know what burning bodies smell like. They don't smell like anything else. I mean, that sounds twisted and awful to say, but trust me, you can tell. It's not like burning anything else. A burning human being has a smell that, I don't know if it's some kind of, genetic thing that's put into your brain.
It's probably an evolutionary thing that
all I know is when you smell dead human beings that are burning, you can tell. You can absolutely tell. And it's not like you have to be next to it. Miles away, you can smell this. And the smoke that comes from burning bodies is black. It's dark. Because it's oils. It's oils, it's stuff, it's skin, it's black. It's black, and first of all, it's white, then it's black, then it's white. It's creepy. Anyway, the thing is, you can tell. And for anyone to say we didn't know, we couldn't tell, these are the same people who, when Nuremberg came around, they're saying, we were just following orders. Well, guess what, kids? That's going to get you hung. Mm-hmm. You don't get to just follow orders.
Yeah. And that's the thing about these people that say, what's the big deal about integrity? Or just keep your head down. Don't make waves. Mm-mm. Congratulations. You are those people that you condemn for not standing up when the Nazis were killing all the Jews, the Christians, the Catholics.
The homosexuals, everybody. The Catholics. The mentally retarded, the infirm.
Because those people just kept their head down. Didn't rock the boat. But what happens if you've got those soldiers and that one person stands up and your Nazi's like, bam, you're dead. Then the next guy pops up. Bam, you're dead. Now it's not Jews that he's having to kill. Yeah. He's having to kill his next door neighbor. He's having to kill his brother and those people. Yeah. Now that's going to start setting in. And that starts making the...
If you want to look at history, just speaking of the Germans, okay? The Germans were wiped out. We basically destroyed. The only reason Germany exists the way it is now is because America rebuilt it. Okay, the Russians were going to roll in and keep it like East Germany. I don't know if I've been through East Germany. Well, the former East Germany, we fly into Leipzig and some of these places. It's still, the wall's been down for 30-something years, and East Germany still looks like East Germany. You're still like, the hell is wrong with this place? 30 years have gone by, and it still looks like the Soviet Union. The buildings are just, it's just. I wish more people could go and take a look at it and see it. Okay, Whereas West Germany was vibrant and big and great. And down in Bavaria, you visited me when we were down there, where the Fulda Gap, where World War III was supposed to be fought, where I lived. You went down there, and it's Bavaria. It's beautiful the way it used to be. Even though the war, Schweinfurt, where we bombed the living out of Schweinfurt because the ball bearing factories were there, and look at it. It's a thriving, big city. The economy is having a little trouble because of the thing, but they're doing fine. When you have Germany that was have you seen the old war photos and just what we did to Berlin and just what we did to Schweinfurt and to Würzburg and to Dachau, Dresden and these places like Dachau is a different place, to Dresden, and just the way we absolutely leveled Germany and how many hundreds of thousands of Germans we killed, and how beaten down they were. Okay. Think about that for a second, and the fact that Hitler at the very end was like, the German people deserve this. This is what they deserve. They weren't strong enough. They weren't good enough. And in one of his lines, he quoting from him, the streets will run with blood. They will pay for it with their blood. This is the guy who was in charge. This is the guy who led them down that path. This is the guy they were following blindly. This is the guy they refused to go against. This is the guy where they kept their head down. Did they think it was going to be okay? No, it's not going to be okay. Yes, there's going to be suffering. Yes, you may die in this thing. Are you willing to die now or die later when the Americans are coming for you, or when the Germans force you to be in the military and get slaughtered by the Russians? What are your children going to do? Because at the end of the day, the children were being forced in the military. The defense of Berlin was being done by 9-year-olds in the Hitler Youth at one point. You had kids who didn't, who could barely, their voices hadn't dropped, and they're trying to hit a Russian tank with a Panzerfaust, which is a rocket launcher. Look at what you're trying to do, and there comes a point when you have to stand up, and despite the fact that it's dangerous, despite that it's problems, despite the fact you may lose your job, despite the fact you may lose your friends, okay? I get adamant about this because I've seen the results. Firsthand, no shit, in black and white, the results of what happens when people don't stand up to their government when the government's doing wrong. I watched it in Kosovo, and I've seen it in Bosnia, and I've seen it, the results of some of it in Germany. I've seen all kinds of horrible places.
Well, it's not just your government, though. Is you have to do that with your employer and other areas, because when you don't fight for it for your employer, when the time comes to stand up against the government and do what's right and protect the Jews, protect the Catholics, protect the Christians, protect the
homosexuals, protect everybody,
whatever new group is being attacked this week, then when it comes time to really make that powerful stand, you're not going to, because your ethics and your integrity has been chipped away.
You've trained yourself to be passive. You've trained yourself to be a follower. You've trained yourself to just let the trainloads of Jews go past and just keep your head down and don't worry about it. At least it's not me. And that thinking has led to more ruin and destruction than you losing a job. And losing your job is important. It's a big deal. Believe me, I've lost plenty of jobs in the past. You've given up plenty of jobs in the past, and it's decisions that we've all made about doing the right thing and doing the wrong thing. But, and as ethereal as this conversation may be to some people, as pie in the sky as some of these concepts are, they're real. This exists. This actually happened. It's history. Will there come a time in our lifetime when we have to stand up and basically tell a government to screw off? Maybe. It happened to me. It happened in the 1775. It happened in 1812 and 1814. For Texans, it happened in 1835 and 1846. Between the states in 1861. Finally the Americans against Europe in 1916, even though the war started in 1914, and then again in 1941, even though we'll be going into 1939. There comes a time when we have to stand up. And the question is, are you going to have to make that decision then? Or are you going to train yourself to make that decision?
Start practicing.
It sounds ethereal. It sounds weird. Some guys are like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe, but maybe it is. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And it's real. Now we're not saying that to go stand up and say, screw your government, you're wrong. Or this other thing, and don't make a big. Not everything needs to be a battle. Sometimes a conversation's enough, and sometimes a conversation's all it takes. Sometimes you can have someone, they want you to do something, and you go, Bill, I'm not really comfortable with this. Well, why not? Well, I'm just, And oftentimes, but since we're all adults, they'll go, "Oh, well, shit, Bill. Okay, don't worry about it. We'll fix it. We'll take care of it." Sometimes that's all it takes. It's not always going to be a knockdown, drag out battle. Yeah, I'm not saying that you need to draw your sword and descend upon them like the Jun Horde. Okay, I'm not saying necessarily you need to do that. And all my adamancy and all my getting very emotional about stuff just comes from my experiences. And I'm not saying it doesn't have to be like that, but every person should get used to the idea of when something goes that you don't agree with, or something happens that you're not sure about, you can raise your hand or say, can I talk to you real quick about whatever? It's just that easy. You can draw your sword and slaughter everybody later on. Don't do that. I was kidding.
Well, if the boat is headed towards a waterfall and you don't have any steering and you're not in control of steering it, you might as well do something with the boat. Shake it, stand up, make waves, do something before that boat goes over.
Let somebody know who does know how to stop the boat.
Yeah.